Forests are beyond trees and wild animals, but a place where dangerous mythical creatures are known to take refuge. From mysterious creatures in the dark to completely unrecognizable forces in broad daylight, these are some of the most disturbing creatures ever to be caught on the trail camera. Skeleton with glowing eyes. Either this is a prison escapee or a good old ghost. A group of young hikers who were out on a camping trip in Casanino National Forest, Arizona. While exploring the forest, they noticed a troubled-looking man sitting beside a narrow stream of water. To get a better look at it, the light was focused on it, to which it reacted by suddenly turning and staring at them. It had a shaved head with a skinny body, almost as if it were a Halloween skeleton. No matter how dark it gets, human eyes do not glow or reflect light, which clearly shows that this was no human, but a skeleton ghost. Glowing-eyed mummy chase. Just by looking at the glowing eyes, you can know this certainly is no hoax. In September 2019, two colleagues were returning from work in their car when a manly figure in the dark started sprinting parallel to them. Seconds later, the ghostly figure closed in towards the light, revealing its final form. It seemed to look like a mummy with glowing eyes and an incredible speed. First, it got closer to them and then attempted to jump into the vehicle when the driver was able to speed away. This certainly could not be a human, but a mummy that may have gotten possessed by a supernatural entity. Ghost attempts to hide. Either this ghost dozed off into the water or it was attempting to hide itself. A trail camera planted on a bridge next to a haunted house captured footage of a ghost that tripped into a small stream. The camera was placed in the area to investigate the cause of disturbance in the area in the dead of night. After reviewing the footage, many believe that this would rather be a cause of a young woman being possessed by a ghost. Flying humanoid. If the furry humanoids weren't spooky enough, you now have one that can fly. Two young boys, while playing in the backyard of a farm in Kent, United Kingdom, noticed a weird-looking hive. With their father filming the video, they got closer to the hive when a flying bug came out of the hive. At first, it was thought to be a firefly or a dragonfly, but seconds later they could notice that this bug is humanoid. From arms to legs, it had a body structure completely similar to that of a human with wings to fly. As it came flying out, the father and the kids reacted by fleeing away. Since the footage has gone viral, many call it a real-life fairy. Forest zombie. This looks to be either a zombie or a clown, or perhaps both. After numerous reports of something haunting a small part of a forest in Ontario, Canada, paranormal investigators decided to investigate. After several hours of searching, they weren't able to find any ghosts, but rather a zombified being that was stalking them from a distance. Upon one of the paranormal investigators spotting this haunting figure, it quickly escaped behind the tree and into the darkness. It had sparkly eyes, clown-like makeup, sharp reflexes, and not to mention huge in size. Imagine the horror of such a nightmare ambushing you. Jungle highway crawler. Choosing a highway to crawler in the middle of a forest is probably the worst place to be around for creeping onto someone. Only a few days ago, a transport driver, while passing through the dense Valdivian temperate rainforest road, came across a naked-looking crawler in the middle of the road. It looked to be quite skinny as a frame of moving skeleton with a very bleak face and hair, although it remained mostly stationary. But according to the driver, it was too eager to get closer. The driver, who turned around for alternate route out of fear of his safety, was criticized by many for not helping a possible man in distress. Sword hand skeleton. Something as scary as this surely redefines the notion of haunting spirits in graveyards. With the appearance of a sharp footstep-like trail all around the cemetery, gravediggers decided to place a trail camera, hoping to find some answers. To their surprise, a disturbing-looking rake being was caught on camera as it was passing by the graves using its sword-like limbs to move. Its body was merely a dark shade of skeleton. While many consider it a rogue ghost, some call it to be a case of reincarnation or a dead man walking. Humpy ghost. It's probably the hump that may have gotten it not so mobile. A group of friends who were lighting up firecrackers to celebrate the 4th of July when they were interrupted by a high-pitched guttural cry. Curious for answers, they decided to investigate the noise. While passing through the trees, they were abruptly stopped after spotting what looks to be a weird, humpy entity in the dark. Since the idea of getting closer for identification wasn't an option, they decided to lobby a flying firecracker in its direction before running away.
Get the hell out of here.
Many take it to be a case of a drugged-up human, but whatever it was surely is a terrifying sight to behold. Dark furry monster. This particular dark furry monster may initially seem like a man wearing a Halloween costume until you look closely at its eyes. Two explorers, while passing through the forest of northern Iran, spotted an eerie hiding behind the bushes. Due to the pitch darkness of the night, they were forced to get closer to it to investigate. While preaching religious chants, they were to get close, but still could barely see it. It had a dirty fur-like coat with incredibly white eyes that were visible. Due to lack of light and fear of the unknown, they weren't able to get a good look at it despite being spitting distance away from it. Tall, furry humanoid. The bigger and furrier it is, the more concerning it gets. After dozens of reports of a tall, furry, human-like figure being noticed in a woods near Winnipeg, a former canine expert was hired by wildlife experts to find and investigate. The canine tracker, after hours of attempting to find the rumored humanoid, was about to call it a day until the notorious being made a sudden appearance as it passed by the tree. The tracker attempted to get a closer look at it, but his dog refused to join into the pursuit, creating a moment of confusion that aided in the humanoid's escape. Fortunately, a camera was installed on the dog harness, which captured the first ever glimpse of this rumored being. Slenderman. In 2018, two friends and a little girl were traveling across states when they bumped into an abnormality, tall and suspicious-looking man referred to as the Slenderman. The Slenderman appeared in the middle of them, making the driver turn off-road and into the grass before stopping. Seconds later, the camera blacked out and started recording once again, showing the Slenderman walking in the woods with the little girl. One of the two friends went missing, while the other was able to find the little girl with a note left behind probably by the Slenderman. Till date, authorities haven't been able to figure out who or where this tall being came from. Creepy cryptid encounter. Is this a bird of some kind or just a horribly looking rodent? While out for an adventure, a tourist encountered a creepy looking animal that was hiding behind a dried up tree trunk in the Appalachian Mountains of North America. Its face looked as if it were deformed with something like a beak on the face. The intentions of this animal were unclear, as it never moved much besides keeping the eyes locked onto the recorder. With the behavior as such, the tourist described it to be an unrecognizable animal that was later pronounced to be a cryptid. Skinwalker attack in woods. Oh. If you hear an unsettling humming sound, it's probably for the best to stand clear of it. A man, while driving on the outskirts of Montana, stopped for a cigarette break when he heard a very unsettling humming sound all of a sudden. Out of curiosity, the man entered the woods to find the source of the sound when a skinny, fast-moving skinwalker appeared from nowhere in pursuit of the man, almost as if it were a predator. What happened next remains a mystery. However, the fact that this video made it to the internet shows that the man who recorded the footage may have survived. Alien Scout. The appearance of the UFOs and alien sightings such as these are surely not a mere coincidence. A couple, along with their neighbors, were camping nearby the Big Bear Lake in California when a tiny possum-like being made a sudden appearance, catching them all by surprise. According to the witnesses, it had a physical appearance similar to that of a fictional character, Dobby from the Harry Potter movies, but was a bit too green. As the wildlife experts are trying to make sense of the incident, many debated that this could be an alien scout, especially due to a UFO sighting the previous day. Cryptid caught on camera. Cryptid or not, even they tend to make mistakes and get seen. An explorer, while placing his trail camera in a mountain forest somewhere in the United States, found a mysterious shadowy figure. It was seen curiously peeking out from next to a broad tree trunk and got caught on the camera that was still recording. Although it didn't show any sinister intentions, the cameraman quickly ran away from the area. The fact that the nature of this being is unknown and you never know what it might be capable of, he instinctively decided to run away. The figure remains a complete mystery, despite widespread online exposure. Crooked-faced walker. This is one of those times when something fictional becomes a reality. Residents from a small town in Wisconsin reported numerous appearances of this crooked-faced walker, which has a resemblance to a mythical character called the Spirit Walker. Locals would often wear costumes depicting the walker until it actually started appearing after dark at festivals and community events. So much so that it was locally known as the Spirit of Bizarre. It has a body structure similar to that of a man with extremely long, bony arms, all covered in a suit and a mask. The footage was taken by one of the cameras that was placed to get a closer view at it. Shady beast. With little to no trees around, the chances of it being a monkey is next to impossible. A footage captured in a woodland area in Nebraska shows a troubled-looking individual that was spotted by passerby as it appeared out from behind the grass. The author of the video at first thought it to be a monkey in distress or an animal of some kind, until it got closer and up on its hind, revealing its terrifying face as it began chasing. The recorder described it to have a beastly appearance, which, after video getting viral, was later nicknamed as the Shady Beast. Catching birds for dinner. A simple fact that gorillas are not known to hunt birds is enough to say that this isn't something normal. A video recorded in March 2016 by a fisherman who was returning from a catch shows a huge furry animal on top of a pole. This furry animal was attempting to catch seagulls flying nearby. Upon capturing one of them, it started bashing the seagull aggressively on the pole, presenting its incredible strength, and started eating minutes later. As it was able to climb tall, narrow poles easily, many speculated that it could be a gorilla, but honestly, it seems like a really hungry Bigfoot. Groot-like creature. If Groot has an evil twin, this probably has to be it. A Virginia family of 3 went out for trekking in the nearby forest where they noticed a tall, dark man-like tree that also happened to be staring at them. The parents commented that they felt like being followed by an unknown stalker hours after entering the forest. Coincidentally, they happened to notice the same tree, despite moving for several hours, which raised their suspicion. Interestingly, the tree creature didn't seem to have any footsteps left behind and remained stationary until it was seen moving slowly. Could it be that a tree somehow came to life, or is it an outer Earth visitor? Giant Tarzan. A sighting such as this is probably a dream come true for all the Tarzan fans. A construction worker in Minnesota, while on a break, saw that this very tall man, who was caught by the magnificence of modern construction, it looked almost naked, covered only by a dark piece of clothing with a height twice to that of an average person. As one of the construction workers riding on his bicycle passed by that point, this real-life Tarzan suddenly disappeared. Since the footage was taken from quite a distance, the tall man wasn't identified properly. Caned ghost Yoda. Facing off a pissed Yoda is more dangerous than all other scary creatures in the dark. A cowboy on a horse was passing through woods while looking at some missing cattle, bumped into a tiny being having similarity to that of a Yoda from Star Wars. This Yoda, resembling a ghost, was running towards the cowboy while aggressively stabbing its sharp cane on the ground. It began to gain pace upon closing in, and due to the fear of the unknown, the man responded by fleeing. While the actual intentions of the caned ghost Yoda may remain a mystery, it definitely couldn't be any good. Aggressive Yeti. What could be scarier than being killed by a Yeti? It's having one to trip and fall onto you. In January 2021, two friends out on a 3-day hiking adventure came across some way scarier than your typical wild animal, a Yeti. The Yeti appeared out of nowhere and started inspecting their backpacks when they returned back to their base camp with firewood. During the unwarranted inspection, the Yeti unknowingly pepper sprayed itself in the eyes. It began to panic aggressively. It got so aggressive that it nearly fell on the hikers before stumbling down the hilly terrain. Bigfoot with glowing eyes. Maybe this Bigfoot was just showing off its sparkling eyes. A TikToker, while out in the Canadian woods for a video, had a close call with this giant gorilla-like creature with exceptionally bright eyes. At first, it was thought of being some gorilla, until after it came closer while passing by. Being caught in fear and confusion, he decided to film the incident. To get answers, the video was uploaded on social media, where many called it a Bigfoot, and that this might be the closest ever encounter with one of them. The TikToker definitely was fortunate enough that the Bigfoot didn't display any predatory behavior. Naked man. A hunter, while passing past a forest nearby Tomorrow World area, when he heard someone calling at him for help. Upon looking down, he noticed a man with not a stitch of clothing on him standing by the creek along with a walking cane. While maintaining distance, the naked man claimed that he had been robbed, beaten up, and stripped of all clothing by bullies during the music festival before being dropped in the woods. After days of trying to survive, he decided to stick next to the creek. The hunter managed to get a number of the naked man's next of kin to get in touch so they could come and get him. This picture was captured by a lost traveler who was passing through a forest in New Zealand on June 10, 2021. The traveler, while stopping to rest for the night, was disturbed by a terrifying zombie-like cry not too far from his location. In hopes to offer help, he called closer to the source of the sound, only to find its point of origin from something that looked unlike any known human. Seconds after the encounter, the traveler immediately decided to flee for his life. After several minutes of running away, the recorder hid himself under a tree bark and decided to remain stationary till dawn, leaving having this picture, the only clear view of this being. Paranormal creature climbing. Something so dark and tiny as this rules out the possibility of it being a burglar. A security camera placed opposite to a villa in a rural area of Karnataka, India, shows a black child-sized creature that crawls next to the villa until it starts climbing up. Locals believe it to be the spirit of a young child that once lived in the house to be returning, while others believe it to be a jinn. Whatever this may have been, it was surely sneaky enough to get past the guard that was sleeping in a chair facing right in front of this paranormal being. Dead alienoid. Alien or not, death surely doesn't spare anyone. Texas farmers who had lost several of their chickens due to numerous animal attacks decided to lay down a bait to draw out the animal. Upon doing so, they noticed a very unusual looking animal in the fields who took the bait in a manner similar to the attack on the chickens. One of the farmers, either pissed or terrified of this alienoid, fired at it, but it managed to escape. After following the bloody trail closely, the alien animal was later found dead next to a tiny bush after having bled out due to the critical wound. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.